Hey there, it's Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. In today's video, we're going to be going through my 2022 Physical TBR. So there are 20 books on this list. Last year, I did give myself a list of 30 to work through, but I found that I only actually did 20. So we're gonna go with 20, because I also am gonna do a digital TBR for 2022, and I have got my 30 books to read before 30, and I still have about 20 of those left to read throughout this year. So I have a lot of books on a yearly TBR sort of thing that I need to get through, and I can still sort of mood read my way through them. So I should just sort of say I don't view these as a I must read these before the end of the year sort of thing. My reason for picking the specific books on this list are that I know that I'm either going to want to read them, or I know that I'm not going to pick them up unless they're on some sort of list that will make me feel accomplished for doing so. So I'm trying to sort of do some weird psychology for myself to make myself read these things and make myself feel good about it. I don't really know, but let's get to it, because there are 20 books and you know, we need to get through them. I'm gonna give you guys very, very loose synopsises because frankly, I don't even know the synopsises for quite a lot of them. So if I tried to give you anything detailed, then it would most likely be completely incorrect anyway. Also, look at my mug. It's Elvish for Catherine, which is my name. The first book on this list is Unravel the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim. This is the sequel to Spin the Dawn. It is the last book in the duology, and I really need to know what happens in this book, and I'm just very intrigued. The last book left it on a certain note that left me kind of reeling, and then I had to wait for this one to be delivered, and I was like, I'm just going to make sure that I read it this year, because I'll also be finishing a series if I complete this one, as well as, you know, actually knowing what happens from the thing that happened at the end of the last book. So I am thinking that I'm definitely going to read this one. Next up we have Point of Origin by Patricia Cornwell. This is some number of books into the Kay Scarpetta series. I really frankly don't even know what number this is. I want to say like 9, 10 or something like that. Now this is a book that I wanted to read in 2021 and didn't read because I hate this cover, and also the font and the pages. This was a charity shop find. I just wish I had found a better copy because this copy really repulses me. So I put it on this list to try and encourage me to actually pick it up and read it, because I want to know what happens next in the series and to actually just get back into reading the series. This book like stopped me reading the series for about a year, so hopefully I will force myself to read it now. Next up we have Supernaturally by Kirsten White. This is the sequel to Paranormalcy, which I read for the 2021 TBR challenge, and I really enjoyed it. I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed it. It's very YA of the early 2010s sort of style book, but I just really enjoyed it, and I don't know if it just appealed to that side of me that really enjoys that sort of book. But it's good, and I bought the second one and then just didn't read it, so I was like, I'm gonna read that. So I'm gonna read it, hopefully. The next book on the list is Ninth Judgment by James Patterson and Maxine Patro. This is the 9th book in the Women's Murder Club series. It's about a group of women who work in sort of criminal detective type fields, and they're all friends and they get drinks together and solve crime. It's, you know, questionable in its premise. And this is the 9th book, and I read the 8th book as like the first book that I read in 2021, and then just didn't continue with the series, even though I was definitely meant to, but I didn't anyway. So I want to read this one to get back into the series and keep reading, because there's like 20 books in this series, so I'm very behind. Next up we have Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff, because I feel like everybody else has read this book already, and this book is just kind of sitting on my shelves looking very, very pretty, but being unread. Also, it's huge, and I'm very intimidated by large books, so this is my attempt to force myself to read the big book. Even though I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it, because I tend to like Jay Kristoff stuff, so here's hoping I do. The next book on this list is Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating by Adiba Jaigirdar, and I just think that this is going to be really cute and sapphic, and I think that I'm going to want to read it during 2022, so I'll put it on this list. Then we have Stormglass by Maria V. Schneider. This book appeared on about 3, maybe 4 of my TBRs last year, and did I read it? No, I did not. So if I put it on this list, then hopefully I will, because it got me to read Poison Study, which is the first book in this series, and then the next year it got me to read Magic Study, I believe. I might have made that up. One of them was definitely on a list, so hopefully this one will finally be read by me this time because of this list. Next up is Moxie by Jennifer Niven. This, I believe, a lot of people know about because it was on BookTube for a while, and then they made a Netflix movie of it, and I bought it for about £2 from the works, and I just felt like it was gonna sit on my shelves forever if I didn't put it on this list, so it's on the list. Next up we have Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. As you can see, this one was £1 and it has been sat on my shelves for a while. It's been a while. But at the tail end of 2021 I did read Skin Deep by Liz Nugent and I loved it. The end to that book was chef's kiss, so I am really hoping that this one will be really good too. I'm very intrigued. Very intrigued. So that's why this one has made it onto this list. The next book on this list is World's Edge by Ryan Kirk. In December I read Nightblade, which is the first book in this trilogy, I think it is, and this is the second book towards that. I basically don't want to forget what happened in the first book and want to continue with this series because I feel like it sort of kicked off into the adulthood of the characters, and if I don't read it then I'm going to forget the magic system and all of the things, so I really just need to get to this one. Next up is Possessed by Nikki Valentine. Honestly, I have zero ideas as to what this book is about, but I'm guessing some sort of possession. Maybe. YA? Who knows? I literally know nothing. I could have read the back, but no, I'm not going to. It will be a surprise. I kind of put this one on this list because otherwise I'd never read it, and the same thing happened with Paranormalcy last year, and I was like, I'll just put it on and maybe I'll read it, and I'm like, maybe it will happen with this one and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, who knows. Next up is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I actually don't know what this one's about either. This one was brought to me by my friend Curtis and I just haven't read it, I haven't picked it up. And I do have sort of a questionable relationship with Neil Gaiman, so I thought if I put it on this list, even if I don't end up liking it, then I will have read it and can talk about it, and I will know, I think, definitively whether Neil Gaiman is for me or if he's not for me. So then we have How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather, and this book has been on my shelves for 4 years now. I want to say about 3.5 years. It's been a while, and I just have never had the urge to pick it up, and I've kind of been leaning towards just picking it up recently, so I thought if I put it on the list then I will definitely pick it up because I will feel accomplished when I have read it, so that's why this one's on here. The next book on this list is Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend, and this is a middle grade. And I know that I have such an iffy relationship with middle grades, but I'm going to give this one a shot because everyone seems to love it. So I have my fingers crossed that I'm really going to like it, and I want to read it, so I'm going to. The next book on this list is The Hunt by TJ Leben. This is a thriller where a guy sort of gets captured for some sort of human trophy thing, and if he escapes then his family will be killed, and if he gets caught and killed then his family will survive, or something like that. I don't know. It was interesting. It's been on my shelf for a while and I was like, I'm just gonna put a thriller on this list because why not? Mix it up. Next up we have The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. This has been on my shelves for a long time. I want to say 6-7 years, maybe longer than that. I don't even think I bought it. I think I may have just stolen this one from my dad, or maybe my dad's friend. It's mine now. This book was also recommended to me by Mel from a book fiend named Mel, and she said that I would really enjoy this book, so I'm hoping. Also, it's a chunk, which is why it's on this list, because I feel like it will push me to actually pick up the chunk instead of just glazing over the chunk's existence as I currently do. The next book I'm going to try and read this year is The Young Elites by Mary Lou. I've had this series on my shelves for a long time and have been meaning to pick it up, just never have, and I was like, just give yourself a push. Give yourself a push to read it, so that's what I'm going to try and do with this list. Then we have Death Scent by Robin Jarvis. This is a book that doesn't belong to me, that has been on my shelves for probably about 7 years, and you know the friend that gave me The Ocean at the End of the Lane? This is his book. I'm not even sure he knows that I still have it. If you're watching this, Kurt, hi! I'm gonna read this year so I can finally give it back to you. I'm a terrible friend. Never lend me a book. Unless, like, you have to give me a time limit on the book that you are lending me, because wow, I'm really bad at reading things quickly. Then we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I know I'm gonna really want to read this one. I know this will definitely be ticked off the list at some point during 2022. So I'm putting it on the list, and then I know at least I will have one that I will tick off. So this one. Same sort of reasoning behind putting One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston on this list, because I will also just definitely read this book. I know I will. That's not a question, I definitely will. So that's it, those are the 20 books on my 2022 Physical TBR, and I just really want to keep getting this TBR down and actively working on it, and also picking things up that I wouldn't always pick up. So I hope you enjoyed my ramblings and weirdness around the books that I've picked for this, and my wavy hands apparently, because they have been going throughout this video. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!